Hello, everyone at Celebrities Farm. I'm your name/narrator's name. And today, I'm taking you on an epic journey through one of the wildest and most majestic corners of North America, British Columbia, Canada. We are about to uncover the history of a true empire, not of oil or technology, but of land and cattle. I'm talking about the Gang Ranch, a property so legendary that, for a time, it was considered the largest cattle operation on the entire continent. To understand its scale and millionaire value, we need to go back in time, specifically to the year 1863, a period of fever and frenzy. British Columbia was on fire, and the reason was gold. The legendary Caribou Gold Rush attracted thousands of adventurers from all over the world, willing to brave icy rivers and treacherous mountains in search of fortune in the creeks. It is in this turbulent setting that our story begins. But the founders of the Gang Ranch, American brothers Thaddeus and Jerome Harper, were not digging in the mud for nuggets. They had a clearer, more sustainable vision. They quickly grasped a basic economic lesson. Those who feed the prospectors become wealthier than most of the prospectors themselves. The demand for meat in the region was insatiable. Miners needed substantial calories to sustain the grueling work, and the cattle they drove up from the United States, especially from Oregon, were worth their weight in gold at the dining tables at Williams Lake and Canal. The Harper brothers identified a vast, dry, but irrigable plateau, ideal for grazing at the confluence of the Fraser and Chilcotin rivers. They claimed the area, built the first rustic buildings, and began moving the cattle, making the vital connection between the southern pastures and the northern markets. The name Gang supposedly originated from this. Not a gang of criminals, but a large gangs or work teams needed to construct the miles of irrigation ditches, essential for transforming the arid Caribou Plateau into a cattle paradise. Their gold was not in the mines. It was in the green gold of the pasture, irrigated and converted into beef. The Gang Ranch was born as a strategic business, fundamental to the survival and growth of British Columbia. This was just the beginning of a saga spanning over 160 years, a saga that I can't wait to continue telling you. The foundation of a rural empire with foresight. Stay tuned, because next, we will delve into the era of British management and consolidation of the ranch as a giant. In the previous part, we saw how the Harper brothers, with strategic foresight during the gold rush, established the Gang Ranch as a vital meat supplier. However, for a ranch to transition from a promising operation to Canada's largest cattle empire, it needed massive capital and management with an industrial scale. And that is exactly what happened at the turn of the century. In 1884, a significant shift transformed the ranch forever. The property was acquired by a London-based investment firm, the Western Canadian Ranching Company, WCRC. With the resources and business mindset of a global power, the WCRC injected the necessary capital to realize the ranch's full vision. This was the golden age of the Gang Ranch. The new British owners not only brought money, but also impeccable organization and a certain touch of European ostentation. They built the iconic Big House, an elegant, luxurious, and entirely imported residence, contrasting sharply with the rustic frontier structures. It was a symbol of the seriousness and wealth behind the operation. But the luxury was just a facade of an incredibly efficient cattle production machine. Under the WCRC's management, the operation scale exploded. They didn't just buy more adjacent deeded land, the privately owned land the ranch holds to this day, but crucially, they mastered the Crown grazing license system. This is the secret behind the Gang Ranch's gigantic size. In Canada, the government, the Crown, leases vast tracts of public land for grazing purposes. The Gang Ranch secured licenses covering a summer mountain and plateau grazing area that stretched across an incredible 1 million acres. I repeat, 1 million acres. To put that into perspective, it is an area larger than many entire countries. It is this 1 million acres of crown pasture that transformed the Gang Ranch from a large farm into an unparalleled territorial empire. With this vast area, the ranch could maintain tens of thousands of head of cattle. The herd of Black Angus and Herefords grazed freely during the warmer months, benefiting from the natural biodiversity, before being gathered by the cowboys in one of the largest roundup operations on the continent and driven back to the deeded land for the harsh winter. The WCRC established the Gang Ranch not only as the largest, but as one of the most profitable rural ventures in North America, demonstrating that, With correct management and access to land, ranching in British Columbia could generate fortunes. This era ended after World War II, when vast rural properties began to become less attractive to foreign investors. But the WCRC's legacy, its scale, and its organization remained. And it is this legacy that leads us to our next part. The legend of the cowboys, the gang, who managed this vast domain. I would say that the Gang Ranch is not just a vast piece of land. It is one of the last bastions of the authentic Canadian Old West. And the heart of this empire, the engine that keeps it running, is its legendary gang, Cowboys. Yes, the crew is affectionately called the Gang, and unlike many modern operations that rely heavily on trucks and technology, the Gang Ranch still performs its duties using methods that honor over a century of tradition. Here, a good horse and a skilled cowboy are more valuable than any GPS. The cowboy crew is overseen by the cow boss, a central figure in the ranch hierarchy. He is the one who manages the herd, the pastures, and, crucially, the cavvy horse herd. Each cowboy at Gang Ranch is assigned a string of horses, typically between 8 to 10, that he must use and care for, rotating them so that no single animal is overworked by the long and demanding hours in the saddle. It is an intense, daily partnership. The cowboy is a farrier and caretaker of his equine partners. It is often said that during the summer months, a Gang Ranch cowboy spends more time mounted than on the ground. The ranch's calendar is dictated by the 4 seasons and the needs of the cattle. The cycle begins with the most sensitive and rewarding part of the year, the calving season. Starting in March, the younger cows' heifers are closely monitored in calving sheds, with the crew working around the clock to ensure every calf is born safely, despite the harsh plateau weather. Immediately after calving comes the traditional branding, marking, and vaccination. This is a phase where the cowboys gather the mothers and calves to be branded with the legendary and oldest registered brand in Canada, the JH. Inherited from the Harpers and vaccinated, branding is still done with fire at Gang Ranch, a tradition that ensures authenticity and ownership, and it is an essential team event that establishes the ranch's new crop of cattle. With the arrival of summer, the vast 1 million acre Crown grazing license comes into play. It is the time for the trail to the mountain. The cattle are taken on long, slow drives, traveling miles uphill to cooler, richer summer pastures. The cowboys move into remote line cabins, small, no-frills camps scattered across the mountain rangelands. They spend weeks or months in isolation, acting as bovine relocation specialists, monitoring the grazing and protecting the herd against predators such as wolves and grizzly bears. A life of total dedication, where challenge is part of the routine. It is this dedication that keeps the empire productive, ensuring that the Gang Ranch remains a living story of the North American rancher. If the Gang Ranch is a millionaire empire, it must operate like a precision business. What defines the value of a ranch of this size, beyond the land and the cattle, is the ability to sustain the herd throughout the year, especially during the long, harsh British Columbia winters, which last 5 to 6 months. The key to its economic sustainability lies in 2 things: product quality and strategic forage management. First, let's talk about the product. The Gang Ranch herd is predominantly made up of Black Angus cattle, a breed known worldwide for superior meat quality and adaptability. The ranch prides itself on producing high genetic calves. These calves, naturally raised on mountain pastures for up to 7 months, are healthy, robust, and highly valued in the beef market. The annual sale of these calves, which occurs in the fall-October, is the primary revenue-generating event. The ranch's reputation for quality and the volume of cattle sold ensure that the Gang Ranch always attracts top buyers and premium price bids. However, the true game changer for the Gang Ranch, and what gives its deeded land priceless value, is its ability to produce hay. Remember that, in the beginning, the founders needed gangs to build irrigation ditches? Well, that historical infrastructure is vital even today. The thousands of acres of the ranch's privately owned land, nestled in the valleys, are extensively irrigated by the Fraser River and its tributaries. It is here that the ranch harvests enough hay to get through the winter. During the summer months, while the cattle are out on the remote Crown pastures, the hard work on the valley floor is focused on the hay harvest. The ranch needs to annually produce and store thousands of tons of hay, ranging from 6,000 to 8,000 tons, depending on the year. Think about it. If you have 6,000 head of cattle and the winter lasts 150 days, each animal needs forage, which requires a monumental logistical and agricultural operation to ensure supply. Without this irrigation infrastructure and this massive hay production, the ranch simply would not be able to sustain its enormous winter herd. This self-sufficient forage capacity is what shields the gang ranch from hay market fluctuations and what makes it such a robust and attractive financial asset for millionaire investors. It is a union of traditional cattle handling with the efficiency of large-scale irrigated agriculture that ensures the perpetuation of this empire. The gang ranch is not just a farm. It's a prestigious investment asset, a collector's item for those seeking not only wealth but also a territorial legacy. Because of this, the ranch's modern history is marked by a series of high-profile, millionaire sales and changes of ownership that have kept it in the news for over a century and a half. As we mentioned, the Western Canadian Ranching Company, WCRC, held the ranch for decades, solidifying its reputation. However, the ranch has passed through a number of hands since the end of World War II, as the attractiveness of operating such vast rural properties began to shift. Each new owner injected capital, updated operations, and, crucially, reaffirmed the value of the land and the grazing licenses. One of the most notable early sales occurred in 1947, when the ranch was sold for $800,000. To put that figure in perspective, in terms of purchasing power at the time, it was an astronomical sum that underscored the gang ranch's status as one of North America's most valuable rural properties. Decades later, into the 2000s, the ranch continued to attract ambitious investors. In 2005, the property was acquired by GP Capital Partners of New York, a group that focused on modernization and efficiency. They understood that the value was not just in the history, but in the capacity to produce high-quality beef, maintaining the Black Angus cattle as the flagship product. The most recent and perhaps most talked-about sale occurred in 2018. The ranch was listed for millions of dollars and was eventually sold to the Betcher family, a local, well-established family in the logging and ranching industry in British Columbia. For the local community and ranch aficionados, the sale to a Canadian family who understand the land and the climate was seen as a blessing, ensuring the ranch continues to operate with a deep respect for local traditions. This succession of owners, from British investors to New York conglomerates and, finally, local families, underscores an essential point. The gang ranch transcends mere ownership. It is an institution, an inalienable piece of British Columbia's history. The owners may change, but the annual cattle cycle, the million acres of crown pasture, and the spirit of the cowboy gang remain. The millionaire value of the gang ranch lies not just in the price it fetches in sales, but in the value of its heritage, its permanent grazing licenses, and its reputation for supplying superior quality cattle. It will continue to be one of Canada's most legendary and valuable rural assets, a true celebrity in the country's agrarian landscape. We have reached the end of our journey through the gang ranch. I hope you've been able to feel the vast scale and rich history that defines this place. The gang ranch is much more than some of its parts. It is a living record of Canadian history, where the gold rush gave way to the green gold of ranching, and where dedication and hard work transformed an arid plateau into a million-acre empire. What the gang ranch teaches us is that, even in the modern world of advanced technology, the connection to the land and respect for the oldest traditions of ranching still yield millionaire returns. The ranch's continued success depends on the harmony between the wilderness of British Columbia and the precision of the irrigation and hay harvesting operations, ensuring that the superior quality Black Angus cattle survive and thrive year-round. It is not just the size that matters, but the way the cowboy gang, with their horses and centuries-old skills, manages this cycle of wildlife and production. 10 sales in 160 years, tens of thousands of head of cattle, 1 million acres of pasture. The gang ranch is a true celebrity in the rural world, a testament to the power of territorial entrepreneurship and the resilience of ranchers. And for me, your name/narrator's name, having the opportunity to unveil this story to you is the very reason our channel exists. But the search for rural empires doesn't stop here. If you were fascinated by the scale and history of the gang ranch, I need you to do me a favor. Hit that like button on this video. It tells YouTube that you love content about great farms and ranches. Share this video with a friend who dreams of the cowboy life. And most importantly, subscribe to Celebrities Farm and hit the bell notification so you don't miss our next adventure. I'm already preparing the next big topic. We're going to leave Canada and cross the border to the United States to delve into the history and operations of the Wagner Ranch, a cattle empire in Texas that, for years, competed with the Gang Ranch for the title of the largest ranch in the United States. Thank you for joining us on this journey. See you at the next ranch.